Okay, we're back, we're live, we're ThinkTech Talks here on Community Matters because they do matter. We're here with Eric Collier, where he's a distributor of Tower Garden, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, and we're going to talk about how he got into that. We're going to call this show, The Tower Garden Comes to Hawaii. We're going to find out exactly what level of penetration we have and what we want. Welcome to the show, Eric.
Hey, thank you for having me.
So, this is kind of in honor of our program tomorrow, which is called New Tech in Hawaii Agriculture at the YWCA, Laniakea on Richard Street, facing the bandstand, if you will. And we're having a pretty big program there. Already there are 80 or so people signed up for this. It's a downtown forum program. And it's called New Tech Comes to Hawaii Agriculture because we have found this new technology brewing in Hawaii agriculture, which could change things and make Hawaii agriculture, a point of salvation for the Hawaii economy. And so then we got to talk with Eric Collier, and it's kind of interesting how he somehow fits. The Tower Garden sort of fits in between the various elements of the program. The program is agriculture per se, but it's also aquaculture. It's also hydroponics, and I guess I'd say this is somewhere in the neighborhood of hydroponics. What you're doing?
Yeah, it's aeroponics.
Aeroponics. Thank you. My new word for my vocabulary. Okay, aeroponics. So we have a picture, and I think it's appropriate to show the picture so that we can all focus on what we're talking about. This is the deal. This is the Tower Garden. And you can see what it is, and we're going to study this today. Our show here today is going to be a study of the Tower Garden, and Eric's going to tell us all about it.
All right.
But before we do, Eric, before we get into that, I want to talk about you. Tell me how you got to be a distributor of the Tower Garden. What in your life led you down the path to do this?
It's kind of ironic. Life kind of turns you around. So long story short, I actually was trying to build my own hydroponic system on my lanai, right? And so doing the research and costing things, and ends up, an arm and a leg, a couple $1,000s to build this thing. And so I kind of put on back burner, maybe from over time accumulate my pieces of equipment. And so happens one day I go to work. A buddy of mine saying, "Hey, check this out. I have a Tower Garden." And I said, "What is that?" He's like, "Oh, it's a state-of-the-art aeroponic vertical growing system." So I looked at it, and I've done my research on the hydroponics, and I was like, "Yeah, you know what? I really like that." From day one, I was hooked on it. And then I signed up as a distributor, primarily to get one. And then I felt as though the Tower Garden is such a critical piece for lots of families, as well as kind of a link for urban gardening and micro farming as well.
I want to study for a minute the notion of of you making the decision that you were going to go out and get a distributorship on this, because that's a real good business move. I would call it, I named it just now, geographical arbitrage. And, if you live in an island state, a couple thousand miles from anywhere else, and you see an idea somewhere, it doesn't matter where, and you say, we don't have that here. I'm going to bring that here. I'm going to reach out, I'm going to make a call, I'm going to commit myself, even write a check if I have to. I'm going to bring that here, and I'm going to take advantage of the vacuum that we have here and see if I can make a buck. I mean, tell me about that decision, and tell me about how difficult it was to develop the distributorship.
Well, essentially, the Tower Garden is manufactured by NSA Juice Plus, and Juice Plus is a different product outside of the Tower Garden.
Juicer?
No, that's something we can talk about later. But it's a different product. It's whole food nutrition, essentially. And this company wants people to be healthy, and it's kind of difficult to understand that a multinational corporation wants people to be healthy rather than ultimate goal is to make an income. So that's one of the things that I noticed. When I I was always into agriculture. I always had my eye out agriculture, anything to make something edible, something beautiful. And so a woman by the name of Wendy Lowe, a couple years ago, brought the Tower Garden to Hawaii herself. She was actually a Juice Plus distributor in the past, and she was the one that did the footwork, and she brought the Tower Garden to Hawaii, and now there's, I believe, a little over 600 Tower Gardens in Hawaii,
already
the state
here.
of Hawaii, already here. But you got to imagine, like, so there's a little over 1 million people on Oahu, not to mention the populations on the other islands. So 600 is kind of like a drop in the bucket.
Yeah,
you know.
that's true. But they are here.
They are here.
So how if you have a distributorship, that means yours is not unique. I mean, you're not the exclusive.
No, I'm not the
It's just
exclusive.
you're one of many, or possibly many.
One of many. So there's a business scheme behind. It's a multi-level marketing. So it's a business scheme, and most companies that do well, multi-level marketing is a multi-billion-dollar industry and growing. And that being said, companies who decide to sell their products through multi-level marketing, essentially, it's probably the most efficient way to sell your product versus selling it wholesale through retail, because you have people who are selling the product through people they know, and that's the
social
way.
connections.
Absolutely, it's absolutely a social connection. And what I do with that is I teach people. I teach people at our community garden at Chaminade, and I utilize the Tower Garden as a form of teaching them that that's a different form of growing, foods, fruits and vegetables, as well as, and I talk about the nutritional aspect of growing your fresh fruits and vegetables.
So when you say multi-tier, ordinarily that means that it's distributed through a primary number one person, and then that person, engages another person or people, and then they in turn, so it spreads out. Or are you direct with the multinational that runs
I'm
this?
direct, so I can talk to them directly myself.
Okay.
I just happen to be trained or mentored by Wendy Lowe.
Okay. All right. Well, so now we know why you did it and how you did it. Did it cost any money to become a distributor, or is that something that they just like to have the business?
It's $50.
Okay, thank you.
It's $50 to become.
I appreciate your candor on it.
Yeah.
It is funny though.
Yeah.
Well, it's to show that you're real. I think it's to show that you're willing to put a few bucks in anyway. That's great. So tell us about the Chaminade experience. What are you teaching up there? You say you use the Tower Garden as part of the education, your course, but is your course broader than just the Tower Garden?
Absolutely. So what we have is a program. It's a program to inspire young scientists. It's a STEM-based program, and Chaminade has a tradition of doing community-based work. Okay, and this particular I'm a Scientist program comes out of the Natural Science and Mathematics department under Dr. Turner, and we go around to different schools as a free service. And we bring the scientific modules to the students, and we bring real scientists, real PhDs to the students, and we teach them DNA extraction, the transmission of germs, some epidemiology type of things. We also teach them nutritional aspects of what's in your juice, how much sugar is in your juice, and we bring that to life by having the students weigh out the sugar in their drink. And so let's think about it. Like,
scary.
So, yeah. So the other day I was talking to a friend of mine, and she wanted to lose some weight, right? And I said, okay, so what do you do? She talked about kind of her lifestyle habit. And then I said, well, one of the biggest things is sugar consumption. I lost 20 pounds just by cutting the sugar. I didn't stop, I'm a sugar fiend, but I cut the amount of sugar. And what I did was I showed her, I said, look in the back of your can. There's a nutritional facts label. On that nutritional facts label, there's a sugar amount. And I think it was some type of coffee beverage. And I think it was 36 grams of sugar. So
how much is that?
That's 36 packets
of
sugar.
That's
so
a lot.
Each packet of sugar is about a gram, plus or minus.
That's a lot. It's loaded.
Absolutely, but you don't notice it because it's in a liquid form. But also, companies also pack it full of salt. So salt and sugar create more dehydration, but you're also addicted to the salt and sugar. It's a natural thing. Get your endorphins going in your brain, right? So you're like, oh, this is great, like a Pepsi.
Habit forming.
Absolutely, habit forming, and it's more addictive than some actual quote unquote drugs. And so you want more of that, and you want more of that, you want more of that. And so as your body takes in that sugar, your body pH starts to change. And that's when you start having those inflammatory issues like diabetes, atherosclerosis, cardiovascular diseases, and also you're more susceptible to just basic, colds and things.
So are you part of the Chaminade faculty, or is this a special course? I mean, what's the configuration for it?
So I'm just staff. I'm a staff. I'm a research associate. So I go in a lab and I actually conduct research. But also I'm a part of a larger team, and some of them do other research and we do other research. But the primary goal for us is to get students and get kids in general more interested in science. And science isn't just going in the lab and playing with chemicals. Science is everything. Everything that you see is science. There's science in the technology of this tablecloth. It's very dynamic. Science is very dynamic. So when we say science, it's just kind of an umbrella word, like just an overall word. But when we bring the students to Chaminade as well, we teach them different things. And we also, when we go to the garden, we teach them different things.
It's a great school. Actually.
Awesome school.
Yeah.
Awesome school. It's a sneaky school. They do things really low key, but they do awesome things.
Yeah. There's a big thing tomorrow at Chaminade, actually. The Hogan, entrepreneur program in the morning.
Yeah.
We would go, except we have to do the program called New Tech in Hawaii Agriculture, so it's a priorities thing for us. So I want to just start now on looking at the technology involved in this aeroponics device. So first, the device itself, how big is it? Let's look at the picture again, and you can start familiarizing us with exactly what this is. So that looks like it's like 6 feet tall.
No, that's just me slouching. So
you can imagine what it would look like if I was next to it. Never mind.
Yeah.
So all right. So it's not quite 6 feet tall.
No, it's about 5. I want to say 5'3". It's not very tall, but you can actually put right in that configuration. You can put about 20 plants in there. 5, 4. Yep, 20 plants right in that configuration. So it's and it takes about 2.5 feet of floor area, and 20 plants in 2.5 foot. You really couldn't do that in the ground.
Okay, and now it's got this big bowl at the bottom. I'm guessing that's for water.
Absolutely, that's the nutrient reservoir. So it recycles 100% of that nutrient water.
And you put nutrients in the water. You put water in there, and you put nutrients in the water. And there's a little. I wonder if the control room could blow that picture up so we can see it in greater detail. And I'd like to see the little the base of it, and I'd like to see the holes a little better.
Right.
Perfect.
Right. So that's the nutrient base. Okay.
Okay.
You'll fill that up. It's about 10 to 20 gallons. I just fill it up, and you put your nutrient in there, and they provide you with the nutrients. It's a pretty comprehensive nutrients. It has their micro and macro nutrients.
Comes in an envelope. You have to buy it. Do you buy it from the manufacturer?
Comes in a kit from the manufacturer, and it's liquid form.
Okay.
So you measure it out volume-wise. Pour it in there, and there's
Can you make your own, or is this something where it's not going to work right unless you buy the official liquid?
No. These are plants, so you can actually go and buy your own hydroponic fertilizers. You can do that, but so Tower Garden wants everything to be natural.
Yeah.
Okay, so their nutrient mix is natural. It's plant derived, and it's a natural derivative versus some fertilizers that are petroleum derived, right? So some of those things that people need to educate themselves about.
Okay, so now there's a pump in this device, which pumps the water up through the tower. Where is the control for that?
There's a I guess a timer. There's a timer. You plug the timer up. The pump is just a pump itself. It'll always run forever until.
Oh, okay. It's always operating.
It's always operating. But you connect the pump, which is like a fish tank air pump. Similar sound.
It's not a very
voltage.
big pump or anything.
Not at all.
Just enough to get.
It's about that big.
Okay.
Yeah. And it pumps the water nutrient up the center of that the tower garden up to the top, and then it showers down and on the inside onto the roots of the plant.
Okay, so that happens. You don't have to attend to that at all.
No.
Now the holes there. I wanted to just take one last question on this, and we'll take a break. The holes. It looks to me like they're about an inch and a half, maybe, or 2 inches in diameter, basically round. Where do the holes go? What happens with the holes?
Those holes, you put your plant, your seedlings in there.
Is there a shelf underneath that holds the seedling, or does the seedling just stick through the hole and then get into position for the shower of water?
So when you grow your seedling, there's a basket. Once the seedling grows about 3 inches tall, you put your seedling into the basket, push the seedling down to the bottom of the basket.
Okay.
You take that basket and you stick it in those holes. Okay. And then it just does it.
So it needs the basket though, otherwise it would fall in or something.
Yes.
Okay. We're going to take a short break. Now we've seen it, we know physically what it looks like, and we're going to talk about the science of it in a minute with Eric Collier, who is a tower garden distributor here in Hawaii. Here on ThinkTech Talks, Community Matters. We're talking about the tower garden comes to Hawaii. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Dr. Rafi. Every week, I'm right here at ThinkTech Hawaii, 3 p.m. on Mondays. My show is Boritz's Bio Briefings. What do we do here? Well, we watch sperm swim. We see if they catch anybody. We check out the latest biosimilars. You know, the kind that, what was his name, the guy with the bicycle? I guess we forgot his name, but he was taking EPO and other human growth factors. We'll be talking about human growth factors. You want to know where to get some? Maybe I'll tell. Anyway, you can catch me, as I said, every week right here, Monday, 3 p.m., ThinkTech Hawaii, Dr. Rafi. You can also find me on Twitter, BioInfoMedical. Or you can catch me on Facebook, Dr. Rafael Boritzer. I'll be happy to converse with you. Aloha.
Okay, we're back. We're live. We're here with Eric Collier on ThinkTech Talks, on Community Matters, talking about the tower garden. Tower gardens come to Hawaii. So we took a look at a picture a minute ago, and we sort of examined the thing, Eric, but you have other pictures. Can you give us a word picture of what those pictures show, if they were here?
All right. Those pictures show the produce from the tower garden, how the tower garden, how the lettuce and the bok choy and the broccoli rabe grows on the tower garden. It's very dynamic. It grows, I would say, from observation, about 3 times faster than if you grew in the soil. So what I did was I planted some bok choy in my soil in the pots at the garden. Then the same day.
Like controlled experiment.
Absolutely.
I love this. Yeah, great.
So, and then I put it in. Now this soil is a compost mixed soil. So it's very rich in nutrients, and nothing else grew in there. Okay, and then I put it in my rock wool. Stuck it in the rock wool, let it grow like you were supposed to, per directions of the tower garden.
There's no soil.
No soil.
No soil in the tower garden.
No, just
rock.
rock
All
wool.
the troubles of soil, you don't have those troubles, right?
No, it's very neat. It's very neat. And so you let it grow, stuck it in the tower garden. My broccoli rabe still growing. They grow about the same rate from seed. Then eventually, the tower garden broccoli rabe took off, and I harvested. Every week, about 5 to 10 leaves, and it's just very dynamic. And then the soil one is kind of sitting there.
Interesting. 3 times faster. And so, when you want to harvest it, you just pull out the plant and that little basket, and you're ready to go.
All right, but for my broccoli rabe, I actually cut the leaves off and just kept letting it grow.
So it just keeps on growing from the same planting, so to speak.
But if you were to have like Manoa lettuce, you just take the whole head out and it's alive. So you know there's no nutrient leach. It's all the nutrients you're going to get is right there.
Okay. So, and there are 20 of these planting places on the tower.
Absolutely.
The top of the tower is sealed?
Top of the tower has it's a seal, yeah.
Okay.
Seal.
Just
No
trying to,
mosquitoes or anything goes in there.
so that if you have it indoors or in a room, which is protected from the outside, you're not likely to get any bugs
No, absolutely.
or any things that will
Critters
hurt a
like
plant.
roaches that like moisture. No, nothing
or
like that.
Animals or whatnot.
No, it all seals off. So if your cat is or your dog is curious, everything is sealed off, lids, unless you don't have a plant in one of those spaces. You can see the water trickle down, but that's pretty much it.
I talked to a guy who has a hydroponics garden actually in Kaka'ako, and he surprised me by saying that since there was no soil involved and there was no infestation of anything, that you could just take this off the growing surface and eat it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You don't have to wash it. You just eat it.
Well, you have your.
But sometimes I would wash it as a matter of habit, just to be very sure.
Yeah. No. Well, at the garden we get a lot of caterpillars. They like to chew things, and so outside of that, and maybe some aphids that will grow because it's outside. Yeah, no problem.
So are you growing outside then?
I grow it outside.
On your lanai, or?
Yeah, I take it to the garden. I keep my tower garden at the Chaminade Community Garden.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that if you do that, then some things will get on
absolutely.
plants.
Yeah. That's normal. That should happen.
Now you can grow more than one kind of produce at a time.
Absolutely.
In the same tower garden.
Yes.
You can always be planting and harvesting and planting and harvesting.
Yes.
And so you have to know, I suppose, when it's toast. I mean, when it's ready to be harvested.
Yes.
But I guess experience will show you that.
Yeah, but the packet, so when you buy your seeds, on the back of the packet it'll say so many days to harvest, right? So you kind of assume, read a little more. The plant is growing to fruit. So if you let your fruit and then you let them kind of ripen there, it's telling the plant I'm done. So you want to try to pick some plants you can keep harvesting, like lettuce. It'll kind of keep growing, but like my tower garden, I have summer squash, and so it just keeps going. It doesn't. Once my summer squash, I think it's ready, I just take it off and it'll just keep growing new ones.
So I suppose, but you could also take a piece of paper. Am I right about this? Some tape. And you can tape the record of harvesting and planting right next to that basket hole, right there on the tower garden. No reason you couldn't do that.
No reason you couldn't.
And you can, I mean, if you don't know what kind of seed you put in there, you can make a little note.
Yeah.
This is what I put. Interesting. So you can keep this thing going all the time. You can, I mean, do you think, say a family of two, husband and wife, do you think a family of two could live in terms of produce off a tower garden? Is it enough? Or do you need like 2 tower gardens for that?
Probably need to. I would say if their consumption of vegetables, fruits and vegetables is high, yeah, they're going to need more. And then it takes more work because you have to replant and put the seeds in. It just takes it makes it more convenient for you to do it. It's a no-brainer. I mean, they can eat off of it, and like maybe let's say they want lettuce every week, right? They want lettuce every day of the week, so they'll plant 7 lettuce. They know it takes about 30 days. Like this is pretty fast growing. About 30 days. So with the tower garden, let's say 20 days, right? So every week they're going to start new seedlings, or every 10 days, every new seedling. So then now when they take that lettuce head out and they're eating it for dinner, they have it with their steak or whatever, they pop a new one right back in there. And then so now the next one, so by the time they finish those 7, you have your other ones still kind of keep going, but you also have 20 spots, right?
So this is a state of mind thing. I'm thinking this is so fabulous that you could put it in your kitchen. I mean, it can generate your produce in the very same place where, you store your produce.
Right.
A few feet from your kitchen table. And you could do this all year long and keep on going. But it sounds to me like you have to have a special state of mind Like, you have to be able to attend to this. It's sort of like having a puppy.
Yeah.
You have to be sure you're watching it all the time. Yeah.
Well, no. So not really. You have your nutrient. It's going. It's automated. You have your timer. It's feeding the plant. It's watering the plants. Circulating. The great thing about it is the plants are not going to drown. They're getting their aeration. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what creates the efficiency. So you're checking the nutrient from time to time. You might check your pH. That's a few drops in the pH bottle that they give you. And then you're watching it grow. You don't really notice until, like, you take a picture of week 1, then week 2, and then you compare them. You're like, wow, this thing is going nuts. And then you start harvesting. But you have to keep in mind, like, once you harvest, you have to replace it. And that's just being aware. Like, that's like buying groceries. You know, we ate up all the chicken, so we should probably go buy more chicken. It's kind of like that. You just get in the routine of doing it. And it's just as simple as putting the seed in a rock wool. Just let it go. It does it. Take it out, put it in the tower garden, and then it does it.
Amazing. It's like, but let's talk about light, because our floor manager staff has specifically asked us to ask you about that. So what about light? I mean, if I put it outside and it's in the open, then clearly it's going to get enough light.
No, it depends. Depends on where it is, right? Some if you put underneath a tree where there's some shade, if your plants don't need direct sunlight, or if they're shade plants,
different plants, different light
requirements. Absolutely.
Okay.
And you should know that by looking on the back of your seed packet, right? So it says direct sunlight or partial sunlight or shade plant. So most herbs, lettuce, tomatoes, they need direct sunlight. So you have it in direct sunlight. If you don't have direct sunlight 100, like with 8 hours out of the day, that's okay. Minimum 4 hours out of the day, direct sunlight.
That would do it.
That should be sufficient enough.
Now, by the way, just a footnote, the seeds, I can buy the seeds anywhere. Any garden shop, I can buy these seeds. I don't have to buy them directly from the Tower Garden company.
No, absolutely. But they do provide seeds.
Yeah, and the pH thing that you described.
Yeah, you can buy that. But you know what? It comes in a kit.
Yeah.
So in the kit, you get your Tower Garden, you get your pump, your nutrient, your seeds, your basket, your rock wool, and
you're ready to go. And you can keep going that way for a long time.
But I would recommend, if you don't want to buy the seeds directly from NSA Juice Plus, you can buy them from your regular store. But I would always recommend heirloom seeds.
What's an heirloom seed?
Heirloom seeds are the ones that you can harvest once. Like, so if you got some juicy tomatoes, right? And you say, oh, these tomatoes are awesome. Instead of buying new packets, since you bought the heirloom, you can wait till that one tomato, just one tomato is ripe. Take it, squeeze all the seeds out, ferment them a couple days, and then now you have hundreds of seeds now. Before you would have to buy a whole new package.
So the non-heirloom seeds are only good for one planting.
Sometimes they're hybrids. So you plant it one time and you have this voluptuous, huge bell peppers, and the next time they're like kind of weird shaped bell peppers. It's just they were hybridized, right? So crossed with two different strains to maximize the growth.
Yeah.
But with the heirloom seeds, you harvest it, you're pretty much guaranteed to get the same result.
When you say hybridized, are you talking about GMO?
No.
These are just hybridized in the old Mendelian sense.
Absolutely.
The classical, crossbreeding. Okay.
Yeah.
GMO is a topic we will probably wind up discussing.
Well, like if people decide that they want to go into further research, some of the seeds that you will find in your stores are GMO. They're from those chemical companies.
Sure. I mean, GMO is. Somebody said the other day, we need to label everything in the grocery store. As well, you will be wind up labeling most things GMO if that's what you want to do, because most foods have some connection with it. Anyway, So going further, then, what is the process? Oh, first the light. So, if I put it inside, and I have, say, one big window, that's not enough. because that's only on one side of the tower garden. So I have to somehow get the whole tower garden bathed in light because it's 360. These basket holes are all around.
Right.
So if I got, say, in a corner of two windows, that'd catch probably at least 180 degrees of it.
Yeah, yeah.
If I had a skylight, that would help. But if I'm going to do it inside, I'm going to have to get a lot of light, or at least a lot of directions of light. Now, do people take these and like turn them around every day?
Yeah, they turn it about a quarter. Some people halfway, but you can turn it all 360 and keep turning it.
You could put it on a little Lazy Susan, couldn't you?
Oh no, the lid turns.
Oh, it does.
It turns.
Oh, you don't have to get a Lazy Susan.
No, you don't. I turn mine all the time. You know.
Now, what about forget about natural light. We're gonna do this in the basement.
In the basement. Yeah.
Or I'm a restaurant. You know, I mean, we talked about this in the context of hydroponics. You know, the restaurant allocates, say, 500 square feet to devices which will grow produce. And we take the tower garden, we put it in there, and we want that room to generate a lot of lettuce for a lot of salads. So could I do that? What special equipment would I need? What kind of special lighting would I need to do that in a completely enclosed space?
Oh yeah, you would definitely need your LEDs, your broad spectrum UV high intensity bulbs, and that's essentially pretty much all you need. If you have some ventilation, that's even better, because you got to imagine that it gets hot. Yeah, it gets hot. Those lights, and then also the plants around the stem will start to develop stem rot. So the circulation helps remediate that. But pretty much, yeah.
So I could do it.
Yeah, you could do it. Yeah.
It could have cost me the energy necessary to run the lights, but that's
LED,
not that much. Yeah.
If it's LED,
look at these; they're not hot, really, and we have LEDs in the studio.
Yeah,
if you didn't know that,
nice,
we really care about LEDs.
High tech, yeah.
Okay, we're going to take one more break. And when we come back, I'm going to ask you the question I've been waiting to ask you for several days.
Okay.
Do you want me to tip you off about this?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to ask you if I can grow marijuana in the tower garden. Don't answer yet. That's Eric Collier, Tower Garden Distributor here in Hawaii. This is ThinkTech Talks. We're talking about community matters. We're talking about tower gardens coming to Hawaii. I'm Jay Fidell. We'll be right back. I'm Jay Fidell. That's Sharon Moriwaki of the Hawaii Energy Policy Forum. And every Wednesday we have Hawaii, the state of clean energy. We've been doing it for some time now, and we have some fantastic guests on there, unbelievable guests who give us insight into what is going on in a very complex, sometimes very confusing, sometimes very disappointing area of progress in the state. So we love doing this. We love meeting them. We love talking to them. We love having their ideas out on the table. So maybe, just maybe, we can all make some sense of what's going on. Sharon, what do you think?
I think that's absolutely correct. We enjoy ourselves meeting with all these people and hearing about the energy and the state of clean energy, and hopefully we advance clean energy for the state. So it's terrific. Join us.
Okay, it's every Wednesday. Okay, Wednesday is Energy Day. Every Wednesday, 4 to 5 p.m. Hawaii, the state of clean energy, here on ThinkTech Hawaii. We'll see you there. Okay, we're back. We're live. ThinkTech Talks here on a given Tuesday. Community matters. We're talking about tower gardens today with Eric Collier, a distributor of tower gardens. And my magic question, which I gave him advance notice about before the break, is, what about marijuana? I mean, it seems to me that I remember, all these pictures. This is before it got legal, before the date of legality was effective in Colorado and the state of Washington, where people were growing very good quality marijuana above the marijuana shop. So floor 1 was the shop, floor 2 was the growing space, and they were using pretty high-tech devices and these lights, special lights, like maybe LED lights you're talking about, and they would feed the shop, or they planned to. I guess it works this way. They would plan to feed the shop out of the second floor. So it's just it's an inescapable thought that I could, assuming it were legal, I could get a couple of these tower gardens and keep myself in in pot for a long time.
For a while, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
They come with heirloom seeds?
They should. They should. No GMO. No GMO. No Terminator genes on that. But yeah, you could. So the Tower Garden grows any leafy green. So if someone wanted to grow tobacco, they could. But if they wanted to grow, I don't know. Let's see, what other leafy green, like Swiss chard, kales.
The ones you were mentioning earlier.
Yeah, the ones that you can grow those, but you also can grow peppers, tomatoes, some gourds like squashes, summer squash, winter squash, different kinds. Maybe not so much a pumpkin because it'll.
Carrots, you can't grow carrots.
Can't grow carrots. Anything that grows in the ground, like sweet potatoes, onions, you can't. But you can grow green onions, chives, herbs like basil. I have basil in mine. All the different kinds of basil. So if you're like a basil freak and you want to have all like 500 types of basils, then buy a bunch of Tower Gardens. And actually, it's very, very efficient. It's just amazing.
In terms of what? Quick growing.
Quick growing. High yield. There was a publication that just came out. It's a much greater yield than the ground. You have better control, so if you wanted to change your nutrient to meet that specific plant, you can do that. You can increase your daylight time depending on if you want to add LED lights or not. If you're outside, you can put it in the area where it gets the maximum amount of sunlight. Of course, you'll have a cord to that, but that's fine. You can grow whatever flowers, calendula. Some people want calendula.
Flowers.
Yeah, flowers.
You could make leis.
You can make leis. I mean, you would have to have a lot of Tower Gardens, but you can make leis. I mean, consistent produce.
Well, I want to let your mind fly because I think, you're sort of heading in the same direction I am, and that is the implications of this technology as a not just supplying me lettuce for my dinner, but actually exporting lettuce in commercial quantities. Can you see that possibility? Could I, for example, take a big room or a big lanai and have like 50 of these things, way more than I need to support my own family and friends, and grow enough so that I could actually, be busy culling and picking and thinning and harvesting, all day long. And I could be loading cardboard boxes with produce and sending them out of the state. Could I do this with this technology?
Absolutely. They are already doing it. They for one example is indoor, and indoor is more complicated than outdoor, right? So indoor at the O'Hare Airport in Chicago, they have their Tower Gardens. They're commercial Tower Gardens, so they hold about 44 plants.
They're bigger.
Much bigger.
Okay.
About 44 plants, so about double the size.
44 as opposed to what's on this one?
20.
20. Okay.
Right. And they grow enough produce to supply all the restaurants in the airport, and that's a pretty big airport, as well as a farmer's market once a week. And that's a small scale. There's also in California, they have Tower Gardens set up to feed the homeless fresh fruits and vegetables. There's also small urban gardens in different parts of the U.S. that do the industrial size Tower Garden. There's a rooftop garden that feeds a restaurant. It produces all the fruits and vegetables and herbs that the restaurant needs.
On top of the restaurant.
On top of the restaurant.
Amazing. Well, I mean, to me, it's not real unless we can export it. Mom and pop is nice, but it's a hobby. Yeah. When you get to the level of actually exporting, then you're talking real money. You're talking about earning an income that you can use to do things. You're talking about making a product that has the excellence of being demanded elsewhere, and this is really great. Of course, in the end, if the whole world has these things, nobody will export because they'll all be doing it themselves.
But you can have, like, let's say if you want to do something Hawaii-centric, right? Like something that everybody wants a piece of Hawaii. Hawaii is its own hashtag, right? So, like, let's say something that grows. Give me something that grows really okay. The Hawaiian chili pepper, right? That's a piece of Hawaii that you can get somewhere else. But if somebody was to harvest those chili peppers in mass amounts. They could sell them in package. They could export them because peppers have a good shelf life. You know, different lettuces. Since you're pulling out the root, you could potentially put it in some type of nutrient, ship it over far overseas, and then have it fresh. People says this is Hawaii grown, and it's still alive.
You have to do this. If you do this, then other people will see that you do this, and then they will do it too. And before you know it, we'll have an industry of chili peppers or whatever else it is. You know, I mean, to me, it seems so clear. You don't have to buy land.
No.
This is a big expense. You can do this in a fairly, small area, and you can, as hard as you want to work, you can generate more and more and more. But let's talk about the cost to buy one of these things. I mean, if I was going to buy 50, I think that would run into some real money.
Yeah, it'd be pretty expensive.
So how much is the cost for one? And you talked about a kit. What's the kit?
The kit total. The kit with shipping, $500.
The tower, the base, the pump,
the nutrient, the seeds, the starter seeds, your rock wool, the basket, and your pH. All that comes in at $500. Now you got to think about, like, what's the quality, right? Some of the hydroponics equipment is made of a thin plastic, coated with some UV protection. But this tower garden is designed specifically to be outside, to be in the UV, so that the UV doesn't degrade the plastic, and it leaches into your food now, into your basket, into your reservoir bed.
Gives you bad diseases.
It potentially, yeah, like some cancers and things like that. But this is designed so that it's practically a lifetime product. So, like, you'll buy a mattress for, upwards to $1,000, right? And the mattress will last you about 5 years, right? Depending on how hard you sleep. But, it'll last you pretty, this $500 investment that you can break up into a 12-month plan provides you with a tower garden for the rest of your life. Now, you got to think about it. They have family packs where you get 3 tower gardens. Now, imagine your kids, everybody's a family, getting together on a Saturday. This is a great day outside. They get the rock wool out and you say, well, what do you want to plant? And they get all excited. Oh, I want to plant. And you can even go to the store and pick out your seeds and what it looks good. And you can grow essentially pretty much anything in the tower garden. And everybody's excited, and they put the seeds in, and they're watching it grow right before their eyes. And then kids are more apt to eat the food that they grow.
Sure. Right? They got an investment.
All right. And they're excited about it. They'll probably eat it green. Like my son, he tries to eat it green. He's excited about it. And it tastes better. It's more nutritious. You grow, you know what's on it. Whatever bug that was on there, you saw it. And your kids can learn about bugs like the aphids,
and you don't have to dig in the soil. That's the important. Nobody wants to dig in the soil. But let me ask you this, Eric. This is, also comes to mind. Suppose I'm a crafty fellow, and in fact, I've had some experience with fiberglass. Okay, I've made some surfboards, for example. I know how to make fiberglass stuff. Why can't I make one just like this? Why? I mean, same functionality. Also, good, solid, non-dissolvable materials and so forth. Why can't I do that?
Oh, this is patent. This is a patent thing. So you could do some, be creative and do your own thing. But the tower garden has been developed over 8-10 year period.
Exact measurements. And the pump. The way the pump showers the water.
The way the pump showers it, but it's designed so the roots, all of the roots, not some of the roots, all of the roots get the nutrient that they need, the water that they need. And if you build something from fiberglass, of course you have to coat that fiberglass with some type of resin, right? Mm-hmm. The resin, those it's pretty toxic. It's toxic. Yeah.
One last question, and that is this: I've been ThinkTech has been studying, if you will, the hydroponics. We visited that farm I told you about in Kaka'ako, and we've done reading, and there's an awful lot of literature out there now worldwide about hydroponic facilities, including some very big ones in the U.S., in Europe, and Asia. And Singapore is a leader in this area.
Absolutely.
And I guess the technology is not this. It's different between hydroponics and aeroponics. I wonder if A, you'd tell me what the difference is, because I'm really not sure, and B, if you would venture this. I mean, which one is more advanced? Which one, would I do better using? Okay.
All right. So there's factors you gotta your space, how much money, what are you growing, okay? Now, if you're depending on what you're doing, I think, to me personally, I think both technologies have their uses. But for my uses as a teaching tool, as personal use, I like the aeroponics better. The hydroponics provides the same kind of nutrient base. It has, it depends on if you want an ebb and flow hydroponic system. It does the same thing, except for it submerges the roots, okay? And the thing that makes both hydroponic and aeroponics so dynamic is that it allows the roots to aerate. The more you let the root aerate, the more efficient the nutrient uptake is. So, and that being said, if you have your roots hanging in the air 100% of the time, and you're just spraying it and exposing it every 15 minutes to a trickle of nutrient, I think that's much more efficient than flooding the reservoir and letting it go. Flooding it for 5 minutes and letting it go, right? So the aeroponic is for sure, NASA said so, is more efficient than the hydroponic.
Seems like maybe the answer is that this is really the, I'm going to say towering technology, but that's trite.
Yeah.
But this technology will prevail, and it also seems to me, see if you agree, that this technology is capable of many different kinds of designs. So where Juice Plus came up with this tower design, you could do it in the shape of an onion if you wanted.
You could.
Or any kind of design.
But I think the idea behind the tower garden is that you can maximize your growing in a 2.5 foot diameter space. I mean, that's pretty. 20 plants. You take a raised bed and you do a 2.5 foot by 2.5 foot space. You telling me you're gonna get 20 plants in there, maximum? Not at all.
No, that's true, and that leads to the real bottom line here is that this is capable of commercialization, and that's the design sounds like it is capable of commercialization, which I think would be very fantastic for Hawaii. It's all about the light, and they could grow really quickly. So tell the people where they can find out more, whether they can contact you or Juice Plus, or the Tower Garden distributorship that you have.
All right, so you can, if you wanted to contact me personally, you can contact me on my Gmail. That is escollier152@gmail.com. That's ESCOLLIER152@gmail.com. Or you can go to www.collier.towergarden.com. And you can go and find all the information you want, all the links. There's videos, time-lapse videos, everything.
Okay, Eric, we'll see you tomorrow at New Technology
Absolutely.
Comes to,
Absolutely.
tomorrow at New Technology Comes to Hawaii Agriculture. Thank you so much for coming down. It's really been educational and actually very encouraging. This is a whole new thing I think people would be interested in knowing about. This is ThinkTech Talks, Community Matters. That's Eric Collier, a Tower Garden distributor, and we'll be back tomorrow after our agricultural program with Donna Blanchard and the arts in Hawaii. Aloha. Aloha.
Aloha.